Hey, Nick.
Hey, Tys.
How are you, man?
I'm good, buddy.
It's good to have you back.
Oh, thanks.
Back in Nick, Tys and Videotape HQ for another week.
Yes, I have to have a big thank you to Nicole for filling in for me. That was huge.
Props to Nicole Kiley, who last week came in last notice
and
to
killed
cover.
it.
If you want to check out that most recent episode of Nick, Tys and Videotape, you can find that all over the place where we discuss Hellraiser. Because right now we are in the midst of our October Spook-ISODes.
Halloween specials.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently.
I don't know whether our discussions of them are particularly scary.
No. But the movies we're watching could potentially be scary.
How do you like our Halloween theme music?
Oh, that was fun. My favourite was the howl at the end.
Yeah.
I did like that.
It works well. It works well.
Like that,
It definitely works
a lot of screams. I like that
a
because
lot of
it was
random screams and sound effects.
I don't know what the fuck's going on, and I'm like, someone is being attacked. Like that's what it sounds like. It was good.
Yeah, that was pretty quick.
I liked it.
Together.
No, I liked it.
There was not a lot of thought in that. It was like scary sound effect.
Scary sound effect. Yeah,
chuck that in. Let's chuck that in there.
Totally.
But yes, today we got a very special episode.
We do.
As our
this
episode
Friday.
lands. Yeah.
On Friday the 13th.
I mean, full disclosure, we're recording this a couple of days early, so it's not Friday the 13th as we speak.
Which, as film watchers, this hurts us. This hurts me a little bit. The fact that I'm not able to watch Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th
but
in
we watched
October.
it so close.
Do you know what I mean? I looked it up.
I might have to watch one of the other ones. I think I'll have to watch number 2, I guess.
We'll do that.
I'm going to have to go in order.
I'm going to have to, yeah. That's a good idea.
But yeah, we are celebrating the glorious day for all
Holla.
for all horror fans, which is Friday the 13th. That happens to occur in October this year, which is all very exciting.
Which is huge. And the next time this happens in October next year is 2023.
2023?
Yep.
So stay tuned for our episode of Friday the 13th Part 2.
In 2023.
But yeah, so
That's
this episode, of course, we'll be landing on Friday. We're discussing the first Friday the 13th from 1980, which I'm very excited about. And yes, as previously mentioned, for our last week's episode, our first Spook-ISODE for October, you can hear us talk about 1987's Hellraiser by getting all over our usual places.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Nicholas.
Hey, Tysy.
Let's talk. I don't like this nickname.
I don't like the nicknames. Hey,
Hey,
Tys, let's talk some trailers.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool.
Everybody's talking trailers. All right.
Okay.
Here we are.
Would you care to go first? Or would you like me to go first?
Why don't I go first? I'll go first.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to talk about. It's a non-horror trailer.
That's all right.
Yeah, I feel like
it's a bit hard.
Well, I just didn't want to. We can talk other. Everything that I've seen, I've been exclusively watching horror movies.
Yeah.
So I'd like the idea that I could talk about a trailer that's non-horror. Every now and then you need to have a palate cleanser.
You do.
And I know my palate cleanser will definitely be going to see Blade Runner.
Right.
So that'll break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the trailer I want to talk about today is we've got a proper kind of teaser full-length trailer for Pacific Rim 2 Uprising. Which I'm kind of excited about now. We had this initial trailer kind of teaser thing that I think came out around Comic-Con where it was like a commercial for the Jaeger program. I think we made the gag then, but do you want to know more?
Do you want to know more? Yeah.
Which
totally.
is very much what it felt like. And that was okay. I kind of wasn't feeling the tone.
But this has got full time. This is... With the backing track, this thing is badass.
This is it looks really, really fun. Like almost like I don't want to, because I don't want to paint it with a negative brush by saying this.
Yep.
But kind of Power Rangey.
Oh, I got that as well. Yeah, totally. At the end when they're all standing there, you're like, this is kind of a bit badass.
But in a
good way.
But
instead of one big robot in disguise.
Well, it looks like I might be reading the trailer wrong, but it looks like the monster joins together to make a super
big monster. Yeah, that's
what's happening.
And you know what? If that happens, I mean, bring it on. That's awesome.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah.
And it's all you could basically paint this movie, the plot to this movie out in your head, and you'll get pretty close. I would say.
Yeah.
But what's going to make it worthwhile, and a lot like the first movie anyway. Like what made I think that first movie incredibly fun to watch.
Yeah.
Is the
monster versus robots.
That's obviously a huge part of it.
Yeah.
The blocking of those kind of things, because there are total moments in that first one where it's like fist pumping kind of like celebrations of stuff and that's sometimes really hard to pull off. And this one looks like it's got that in spades again. There are even a few moments in the trailer that have me going, oh yeah, nothing quite like the they're using the cruise ship as a baseball bat just yet, because that still is
That was a bit
that's
big.
up there as one of the most amazing
I did
moments.
like the sidekick that the combination of the sidekick that both of them, because it's piloted by two people.
Yes.
And in this one, there's like a third person at the back in one shot. And
So
I'm
it looks like there was three. There was one in the original one was piloted by three, and that was I think it was the two-headed one. Remember there was one that had like three things going on at once, and so they had three pilots for it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, we could have something similar with that. I like I think it looks really polished. Like the special effects look stunning. They don't look. It doesn't look overly CGI, which I mean sounds ridiculous considering what it is. Like they're kind of convincing in that same way. Something like Transformers is very convincing.
Yeah, I think it's this trailer especially because because I only watched Pacific Rim this year. And the first one, and I remember when the battles happen, it's almost all the time it's a storm that's happening, or they're fighting in the water, so it's very murky. Yeah. They're in the mid city, and it's bright as hell, and you can see
broad
everything.
daylight. You can, they're pulling it off, man. It looks really convincing,
looks boss,
and it's great to have those two scientist guys, Charlie Day and that other guy, which I feel bad I don't know his name.
We don't know his name. It's a Charlie Day.
But it's the Charlie Day show. They were kind of one of my favorite parts of that first film, so it's good to see them back. And John Boyega rocking the Idris Elba son role.
So good.
And getting to do what I assume will be a very similar kind of battle cry monologue. That's when a man does a monologue.
I'm writing that down. A monologue. When a man does a log. When a man does a speech.
What's it? Yeah, what did he say? What did he just say in the first one? That fantastic word. Today we're cancelling the apocalypse.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm like, what a great line.
What a huge line.
So I hope John Boyega gets something similarly
badass to and today will be our Independence Day.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. What's that guy's name? Is it Idra? I don't know how to say it. Idra Ajona? Is that in?
Hang on.
Is that what you're looking up?
Yeah, I'm looking up the dude's name.
All right. It looks awesome though.
Bern Gorman.
His name is Bern. His first name is Bern.
His first name is Bern. Bern Gorman.
Maybe it's short for Bernie.
Quite possibly, yes. We also get some Scott Eastwood in this new one, who I'm still not
Scott Eastwood.
convinced.
Why do I know that name?
Well,
what is he in?
Clint Eastwood's son.
Ah, right.
He's been popping up a bit. He was in Suicide Squad. He was in I think one of the Fast and Furious. Yeah, he was the one that kind of was the new Paul Walker.
It's all right. Tys is going to come home soon. He's all right.
Yeah, God, I'm all over the shop.
It's all right. Okay.
But I'm yet to see him show any kind of charisma whatsoever. So maybe this is the one. Finally.
Whereas literally Clint Eastwood just has to stand there.
Clint Eastwood was all charisma,
beaming charisma. Even when as a kid, the guy looked awesome.
Yeah, like watching those old Rawhide clips.
Yeah.
You're like, this guy's gonna
go far.
He's gonna be huge. Yeah. Anyway, Pacific Rim Uprising. I will be there, no doubt.
Do you like that Uprising? Do you like the?
No, I'm not interested.
Is it any one of those? What are they called again? Tagline? No, it's not tagline. It's a
subtitle.
Whatever it is. Has any one of them gone? Yes, that deserves that byline or subtitle or whatever. Because it's definitely not Dawn of Justice, because I don't understand what the Dawn of Justice was.
Because it's. I don't even want to talk about
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
No, I didn't like Homecoming. I didn't like Homecoming.
Okay.
God, that's an interesting. Why don't we throw it to the people?
Why don't we throw it to the people? Which one has worked?
Yeah, is there one of those random subtitles?
Yeah.
Because I didn't even really love The Force Awakens. It's okay, but I found it a little.
Are you talking about the title?
Clunky?
You're talking about Star Wars: Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens,
okay,
yeah. So Star Wars, we get.
Yeah.
It's Star
I didn't
Wars.
mind the Force Awakens.
It's a little. I find the order of the words a little clunky.
Okay.
But I've grown to just be like,
deal with it,
it's the movie that it is, and it's great. So I can say it now, and now I'm endeared to it. But initially, I remember thinking, it's kind of clunky, and there would be a better way to say that.
Whereas The Last Jedi in that red writing,
because I don't like anything with last, because I feel like last is a cop out. Everything is the last something.
That's so true. That's so true.
So I'm waiting to find a good one.
Friday Nightmare. Isn't there a Friday the 13th with a final chapter?
Yeah, there's a final chapter. There's Jason Lives. There's the
Made
New
in Manhattan.
Blood. Made in Manhattan, exactly. With J-Lo and Michael Myers. No, what am I thinking of?
Yeah, that one. X-Men: The Last Stand. That's what I was thinking of.
Shit house. What's the... I don't mind...
Go on.
This might be
I want a good
hypocritical.
one.
I don't mind Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
Which is it's the comic book title anyway.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Like they're,
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Don't mind that one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Give us a list.
Get us on Facebook.
Tell
us which subtitle you like.
Exactly.
If there are any.
Yeah.
And point out some shit ones too, because they're always funny to have a little bit of a giggle at.
Really crap ones.
Nick, what do you want to talk about, my man?
I want to talk about, this dropped like 4 weeks ago, but I've wanted to talk about it for a while. It's
Sure.
The killing of a sacred deer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a stab at how you meant to say this guy's name?
The director's name?
Yes.
I'm going to say the first name is Yorgos.
Mm-hmm.
Lithimos?
I'm asking.
We have no idea.
Because I would have heard it around Oscar time because his first film, it's not his first film, I don't think, but the film from last year, The Lobster. It was doing very well. And I probably heard his name read out loud quite a few times. But every time I look at it, I can't. You can't bring it.
You can't mouth it. It looks. It looks to be hard to say. Did you see Lobster Tonks?
No, I still haven't seen it, man.
Nice.
I've heard it's really great.
Yeah, it was such a surprise because I remember because I kind of saw it just before everyone started talking about it, and I think it was Ryan Johnson who tweeted, anyone who hasn't seen Lobster should definitely get on it.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I was like, okay, well, if this man's saying that I should get on it,
then
you
can trust that man's opinion, I would say, for sure.
Absolutely. But the trailer is sort of in the same vein as we need to talk about Kevin. Do you remember that film?
I never saw it.
You never saw that?
Yeah. It was... there was no reason for not seeing it. I think it's just kind of like I heard enough about it and went, yeah, look, if I'm never going to seek that out. I'm not the kind of person that seeks out a film like that.
Yeah, fair deal. It was a weird watch. It's not hard and it's not easy, but it's just it's a weird watch. But the trailer looks to be in the same vein as that. This trailer makes the film look really, really unsettling. So it's but watchable. It looks watchable to
I'm
me.
intrigued. I'm all over this. I think it looks really, really great.
I think that this is, especially because this is a set a little bit more in reality, whereas Lobster definitely wasn't.
Sure.
Like it.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
still trying. Bizarre.
I'm actually not convinced that it's entirely
set in
reality.
Oh, okay, fair deal.
But I get what you're saying. Lobster obviously very much is a fantasy.
A fantasy, yeah. So it's about a surgeon, which is played by God, what's his name?
Colin
Farrell, thank you. A surgeon and his ophthalmologist wife, who is Nicole Kidman.
Right.
Yeah. Taking a parentless teen under their wing, and this teen has some sinister intentions. Now, because it intrigued me so much, I had a little bit of a read and maybe worked out maybe what's happened.
Is it based on a book or anything?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, go.
But so I believe that Colin Farrell may have surgically worked on this kid's father.
Yeah, that's the impression I was getting.
Yeah, so I think that this kid, who is not... He's not just a normal kid. They're taking him under his wing because he shows promise in the medical world. I don't know, something like that. And I believe he's doing things to the family to get them to, I don't know what it is. Through the trailer, you see that they lose bodily functions of their limbs. They don't be able to work their limbs, or something is going on. Like there's bleeding from the eyes and all of this stuff. I don't know. It looks odd, but it's intrigued me a lot. And I enjoyed Lobster. Lobster was such a massive surprise how much I enjoyed it, especially what happens in the Institute. If you masturbate in this Institute, you get your hand put in a toaster. That is fucked.
That's such a great response.
But this trailer with the eerie girl singing in the background,
singing that Katy Perry song. Oh. There's always something, and I couldn't think of
about Katy Perry.
At the moment, yeah. God, I just lost their mind. Yeah. But remember there was. I'm just trying to think. I know I've seen it in a film before, but I couldn't bring the moment to mind while I was watching the trailer. But I've seen a film where someone listens to a girl sing a cappella,
right,
and it's just normal for them to sit there and watch this person sing.
Right.
Now, I'm sure it's not just in one single film. I'm sure I've seen this before, but for some reason, I always find it really unsettling. And it's probably got a lot to do with the fact that is what I do. I teach people singing.
Yeah.
No one ever just goes, "Hey, do you want to hear me sing?" And then sings and makes you sit and listen to it. I could not think of anything more awkward in my life than having someone go, "Do you want to hear me sing?" And then me going, "Okay," and then them just starting a Katy Perry song. From beginning to end.
But it was how you just said then, do you want to hear me sing? Yeah, it's like it's that fast, do you want to hear me sing?
And you just kind of sing
and like, you go, okay, sure.
Okay. This is really weird. And I love that it's like they're underneath like a tree and I know,
and he's just staring at
sitting
her
there staring at her and it's odd and I don't like it.
No one does that. No one does it.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. It's the people dragging themselves around without their legs that I find really interesting.
Yeah.
That whole kind of. I feel like there might be an element of.
I feel that he's doing the kid is doing something to them.
Yeah, and
secretly, like that Colin Farrell doesn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's like he has some kind of end game to.
Like he's trying to get
torture them or something, and they won't be able to move. And but then there's that really odd moment where he's like, "My mum likes you. She's got a great body."
Yeah,
and it's like,
which is where the feeling of we need to talk about Kevin comes from, because the guy who plays Kevin in We Need to Talk About Kevin is
Ezra Miller.
Yeah. So he's just him weirding out his mum.
Sure,
you get that sense from this kid, which is just. Who talks about their mum like that?
That's yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all of this stuff. Like there's a bit in We Need to Talk About Kevin when he's just masturbating and he turns and his mum accidentally busts him and she waits a little bit too long and he just turns, stares at her and keeps going. And you're like, what the fuck?
Nah.
Yeah.
Not on board.
Give it a watch, everyone. Everyone should give it a watch.
That's the selling point, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am keen.
I'm keen because of Lobster.
And look, Lobster is one of the I really want to watch it, but it hasn't popped up on any kind of streaming thing.
It hasn't.
It's not like it's just not something that I can just be like, maybe
Lobster.
it has.
Let's give it a shot. Yeah.
Should we check to see if it has?
I'm going to
now?
have a quick squiz because I have to. Because I'd love to watch it again. To be honest,
maybe I'm telling a big dirty lie, and I feel like maybe you've even recommended it on a streaming, crossing the streams.
No, I haven't. No, I would have remembered that. I love how high my voice goes and I don't know. No, I haven't.
No, definitely not. No.
Oh, it's on a lot of things, but you have to pay for it.
Okay, so it's not streaming.
It's not streaming. No.
Yeah. All right. So I'll come around to it.
Yeah.
And it's not it doesn't instantly jump to mind when it's like, hey, what do we want to watch tonight?
Yeah. So, exactly.
But I'll definitely watch that at some point. I'd love to see it. I've heard nothing but good things.
All right.
All right. Well, that's talking some trailers.
We
need to make mention though, because this will give you a clue of just how far in advance we are recording this.
Oh, right.
By Friday the 13th, and possibly within the next 24 hours of us recording.
Yes.
There will be a
massive
trailer for The Last Jedi. Which obviously, we would be talking about.
Yes. This is why we're not talking about it, because it's not out yet.
It's not that we no, I don't want to talk about that shit. I would love to talk about that trailer, but it hasn't come out just yet. It will be out by the time this episode drops. Exactly. We might end up having to chat about it next time.
Well, I think we should. I think we should. Yes, it's not that, Tyson is a massive Robots versus Monsters fan and I'm a douche that likes weird things called Killing of the Sacred Deer.
I do want to mention in passing as well, we did have some correspondence not long ago, and I totally forgot to bring it up. We were recommended a trailer that someone would have liked us to discuss. One more. And I'm fairly certain you would have seen this by now.
Oh, go on.
Killing Gunther?
Hang on, Killing Gunther. Yes. The Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of documentary style thing about a bunch of assassins going to kill...
That looked hilarious.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That looked fucking hilarious.
It looks really hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who sent us the
I believe it was Mr. Rob Mulady.
Rob Mulady, friend of the podcast, Rob Mulady. Sorry for not doing that sooner. I feel like he did that about a month ago.
He did. We're getting around to it.
Yeah, we are getting there eventually. Yeah. That looks, really funny.
It did, didn't it?
I'm on board for that. I loved his fucking trendy hair.
Yeah.
All of us, when it's like, he's like in his mid-60s now. Yeah. You give someone like that haircut, and they're suddenly the coolest 50, you go, oh, what are you, like 50? like cool as fuck,
Yeah.
man.
That's why every time I see my dad, because my dad has that full grey all gone over. If I can shave his head and give him the line down dude, you're looking so boss.
If you've got like silver hair,
there is so much you can do.
And you can do
so much you can do with that hair.
Yeah, that's why I like we're in a time when grey hair is not like a bad thing anymore.
Oh, no.
People going grey, it's kind of like, all right, cool, I can work with this. Yeah, I can do something with this.
I read an article where a guy got all plasticed and haired up to make himself look older. He's actually 30, made himself look mid-40s, silver foxed and all that shit.
Oh, right.
Yeah. To make that look.
I'd dye my hair silver. I'd try it.
I'd give it a shot. I've always wanted white hair because of Storm. Come on.
Yeah, that's.
And my cousin did it. And she looked boss. She looked so boss.
Oh, like chicks would look awesome.
Yeah,
with
chicks look
grey
awesome.
hair.
With,
Yeah,
no, white hair.
White hair.
White, like Storm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any kind of colours through it or anything?
No, full white.
I've seen like really kind of like silver, and that looked really awesome.
That's in the sort of grey wash is in now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Anyway.
Tune in next week for Nick and Tys's hair tips. We're going to do a ponytail live.
Do you know there's one thing that I can do? I can plait hair. I don't know how I learned.
How the fuck do you know that?
I don't know.
Wow.
But I can plait hair.
I had like below my nipples length hair when I was a teenager.
I never got quite to that extent. Mine reached my shoulders. And
Very
I was
into
like,
very into Silverchair.
Nice.
There's a 90s band for you.
Yeah.
All right, Tys.
But we didn't. Yeah.
Thanks,
Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Rob.
What I am excited about that is it's all pretty much SNL alumni that are involved. Written,
what's his name? Taryn
Kobe Smolder's husband.
That's right.
And so she, I think, is popping up in it as well.
She is, yeah.
CC from New Girl, who is one of my favorite parts of New Girl. I think she's awesome.
Yeah. It looks awesome.
What's the... Bobby Moynihan from SNL,
who finally gave it up and said, you know what, I think I've had enough.
I feel like he's been on that fucking like they've been recycling, turning over cast members, and good old Bobby Moynihan he's still sticking around.
Yeah. There's I think there's it's a Rick and Morty or a Family Guy joke where they do like a futuristic SNL with a hot dog and Bobby Moynihan.
Exactly.
He's still there.
Exactly.
He's still there.
So I'm going to watch this because I think it looks really fun. I like this Arnold. I like him playing upon his own kind of status.
Yes.
Being the kind of person that I like as much as you can kind of.
And he's chucked in like one-liners that are his one-liners from previous films.
Well, that's what I mean. Like he making an impact sometimes for him is just as simple as performing in a small supporting role, but just using all his charisma in that small role.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like lately, I think in some of these films that he's doing, he's maybe not carrying them as well as he used to.
Yeah.
But so why don't we just use him?
That's the thing.
In this kind of regard, let him just use all of his energy up in a 20-minute supporting role.
Totally agree.
And this looks like because the whole documentary. There is a word for that, Tyson. Instead of air quoting documentary, I could just say the word mockumentary. Yeah, that's
all right,
that makes more sense, doesn't it? Like they're talking of him. It's all like, this Gunther guy. He's the legend upon legends.
Yeah.
And who else could you possibly have it come out if you talk about this person so much and then have Arnold Schwarzenegger be that person? I think that's a really clever use of him at the moment.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to see more of that kind of stuff as well.
Especially with like the older action, like apart from Expendables, which to be honest, I kind of like to watch them just because they're pieces of shit.
I don't mind either of them.
Yeah, I like 2 better than 3.
The best.
But yeah,
2's the best.
I like 2. You like 2 because Van Damme is the bad guy.
He's awesome.
And he's so good.
And Scott Adkins.
Oh yeah. But I think Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme, Bruce Willis should all now just drop one tier and do supporting roles, because how better would they be coming in and going, oh yeah, I'm maybe got 2-3 days of shooting and then I'm out. You don't need me anymore. I'm not going to lead this thing.
Well, Bruce Willis has been doing that in those horrible action straight to video action films for the last 10 years. So where he basically says, am I in one room? Can I be on the phone?
Yeah.
And one costume? Great.
Yeah.
Where's my money?
Yeah.
So maybe not to that extent. I think there's but I get what you're saying. Yeah. In the right circumstance, like Wesley Snipes was really good in that Brooklyn's Finest, where he was like a crime boss kind of thing, and he was just there in a presence and, did his thing, intimidating as fuck, and it was great, and that's what he was good at.
Golden.
I agree.
Stallone kind of just produces and directs and stars in his own stuff. He goes, no, I've got my own money, I can do my own thing, sort of thing.
Do you know they've already... This is ridiculous.
Oh.
So Escape Plan 2 has been filmed and is preparing to be released, and they have already started filming Escape Plan 3.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
With both of them?
No Schwarzenegger.
Oh, well, fuck, why am I watching it then?
It's Dave Bautista.
Batista!
I like Bautista.
Well, I'm a wrestling fan. I know Batista from ages ago. But no. The reason I watch it, I'd rather... Why can't it be Van Damme? Why can't it be Dolph? Why can't it be someone else?
Oh, Dolph's going to come up in a conversation we're about to have shortly.
Oh.
Before we move on to that segment, though.
Okay.
Yes? What the fuck was I going to say? Okay, so... Just because we're in trailers and we've been talking about it for a very long time.
Yep.
But there's one last thing I wanted to say.
Go for it.
Antonio Banderas has popped up in 2 trailers in the last week that I thought were the same film. He is becoming the Liam Neeson.
He is.
He's the new Liam Neeson.
He's the new Liam Neeson. That's hard to say.
And I'm a little bit excited about it. I like Antonio Banderas a lot. I like that he's like, you know what I should probably do? I should probably do the old man action movies.
Fuck yeah.
And
Why
so
can't
there's two in line. There's 2 coming out this year. One of them directed by Isaac Florentine, who did like that. He worked with Scott Adkins a lot, who I liked, which is what reminded me of talking about when I said Scott Adkins before. Like he did the Ninja, he did a few of the Undisputed sequels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool, really great action director. So yeah, I'm kind of pumped for this the Banderas resurgence we're getting.
Really?
I'll fucking watch the hell out of those movies. I know I will. They'll pop up on something and I'll be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm watching this.
Meanwhile, 2001 Space Odyssey's in the corner going,
collecting
Tyson,
dust.
Buddy, mate, thought we had a deal here.
Yeah, one day.
Awesome.
God.
All
right, so should we...
What did we watch this week?
Very good.
Nice one.
Horror edition.
Well, mine's sort of horror-ish. It was billed as horror.
Yeah, okay, that counts. Do you want to go first?
All right, I'll go first.
Yeah. Actually, I'll go first because I got 2. Have you got 2?
No, I got 1.
All right, I'll go first.
All right.
So, first one I want to talk about, a movie starring Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, nice.
Called Don't Kill It, which popped up on one of the streaming services. I want to say Netflix.
Yeah.
I heard about this film from earlier this year because I've been told by many online movie fan sites, that it was a really good time and it was a bit of fun. And Dolph Lundgren as a demon hunter.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Is a bit rockin'. It's directed by Mike Mendez, I believe, who directed one of those fucking dumb giant spider movies. But apparently...
That was called Big Ass Spider.
There we go. But apparently this one's actually not that bad.
Okay.
I feel like he also did another one which has got a better name, like Lava Lantula or something.
Oh, Jesus.
Lava.
Spot on. That's how good my friend Tyson is. He thinks he knows, and it is. It's Lava Lantula.
Which
how
is
the fuck?
Which is a great name for a movie because it gives you that premise. That's what... Sharknado is, haha, that's funny. Lava Lantula is that's better.
That's way better. Lava Lantula. I am going to seek this the fuck out.
So, and I was just watching this random YouTube documentary. It's barely a documentary. It was like a promo for like some bad pay TV channel.
Yeah.
But it was basically 2 hours of the 100 horror movies you've never heard of that you really should. Yep. But it had they interviewed. It wasn't 100. That's way too many. I think it was 50. It only went for 2 hours. You couldn't do 100 surely. But it had interviews with a lot of people that I listened to on podcasts and stuff like that.
Right.
And I was like, oh great, so this is kind of
cool.
They're obviously contacting the kind of people that I like their opinion of. And they had Mike Mendez on a lot talking about some of these things. So he obviously knows his horror. This movie, Don't Kill It, it's a story of a demon that inhabits a human and goes on a killing rampage. But what happens is if you happen to be the one to kill that person who's on the rampage to stop the demon, the demon inhabits your body.
Oh, right.
So this is something Dolph Lundgren has dealt with this demon previously. So he's the one that knows, don't kill it. You've got to catch it. You've got to put it in a net. You've got to try and...
You've got to bury it in a deep, dark cave.
What happened, this isn't really a spoiler, it comes out pretty early, is that his dad sacrificed himself to catch him the first time.
Right.
And gave him the responsibility of protecting it.
Right.
And so the way he did it is that he poisoned himself, and then while the poison was settling, killed the demon. So the demon took his body and he died, but no one caused the death. So the demon became just an essence that they were able to capture.
It sounds good.
He kept it in a hip flask, which I thought was kind of fun.
That is badass. Okay.
It's got some moments of really fun, kind of outrageous violence. Dolph Lundgren is doing his best. He's
the best that he can.
The best that he can, and this is what he does well. That kind of he's like a kind of an oafish cowboy kind of style, who's a bit kind of likes a drink a bit kind of a bit loose, a bit of a loose unit. And he, provides a few giggles here and there.
Yeah, there's some rad one-liners as he blows a demon away.
I wouldn't say they're one-liners. No. They're just kind of... It keeps the tone light. Like, it's meant to... Even though it is there's kind of pretty intense violence, it's not meant to be like a dour, kind of depressing film. You're meant to have a really good time.
Okay.
And look, I did to a certain degree. I think the restrictions of... working, it's very low budget. It's the digital effects are awful. There's moments someone lets a grenade go off, and it's like one of those After Effect applied explosion here, and it just goes and I was like, oh come on, like you're killing me. And then some of the practical stuff is really great. Yeah. Like squibs and fucking people getting cut up to shit. And that,
how good are good squibs?
Yeah.
Like
amazing.
RoboCop 1 motherfuckers. Yeah, exactly. Like, Jesus Christ.
And so that all worked pretty effectively. It just has lulls when it's not in the actual kind of hunting demon mode, when it's like, let's sit down and talk about what we're doing. It really fucking slows down. Right. We're not working with Shakespeare, and we're not working with Laurence Olivier either, so it's pretty hard work in a lot of these kind of the more plot-driven elements to it.
Sure.
But yeah, if you can just kind of have a good time and have fun with the violent stuff, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it could be a bag. It's also, and the thing that really drove me up the wall is when you get inhabited by this demon, you scream. And I swear to God, they only bought this one sound effect because every single time it's the same scream.
It wasn't just a Wilhelm scream over and over.
It might as well have been. That's what and it just was getting on my nerves so much. And because I was kind of fading in and out a little bit while watching it, because there were some moments where I was just like, and then I'd see my cat and I'd be like, hey buddy, and just kind of, and I'm like, I might grab a drink, and if you don't need to pause it to grab a drink, you can tell what kind of movie it is. And I just keep getting distracted by this sound that was the same every single time.
That's awesome.
Yes. Anyway, so Don't Kill It. From 2016. I think it's on Netflix.
Netflix.
And look, I want to give Dolph Lundgren props because I really like him. I think he's such an interesting presence.
He's so good.
And
please, one day we're going to do Masters of the Universe. And
fuck yeah.
And he was gold in that. I love him in that. And Universal Soldier 1.
Yep.
And
great.
I still haven't seen the Rocky that he's in. I feel like
you've never been the Rocky kind of Rocky guy. So, but Ivan Drago. Always be Ivan Drago.
I will do the Rockies though. Yeah. I will not die unless I've seen them.
Good call.
All of them.
Good call. I like it.
What's your other one?
No, you do one and then
I'm going to do one. Okay. Okay, good. Well, my oh god. Okay. Well, I went and saw Mother, Tys. Yeah. So we dropped a little.
Right.
Yeah, we dropped the little man off.
Yeah, that counts as horror. And, that can count in the horror for sure.
We went and saw this.
Great.
Well, it's billed as a horror. Like I talked to all the girls at work. Yeah. And they were like, "Yeah, I'm going to go see Mother. I heard it's really scary." I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, right.
It's not. It's they don't know how to market it, so they're going to chuck it into this category.
Sure.
I wasn't. Full disclosure, I wasn't a big fan.
Okay, sure.
This is 2 for 2 for me with Aronofsky because I know you're a big fan of Noah.
I liked Noah a lot.
You did like Noah, but Noah didn't do it for me. It's just I think at the time when I went and saw Mother, I was up for Aronofsky, okay, but I wasn't in the mood for a commentary about the state of the world in which we are now. Mm-hmm. We've already, of what's happening with our brothers and sisters in the US and their leader right now, what's happening in our pathetic political climate with the fact that we can't even pass a bill where same-sex can get married. Like all of that stuff, I don't need, I'm dealing with enough. I wanted escapism. I didn't realize that I wanted some escape. I wanted, Spider-Man Homecoming, and I went and saw Mother. And so it was a lot of... with its biblical references,
yes,
I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I've heard it's a big time allegory for kind of political environmentalism and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
and it's good. Like I know that me when I was 20 would have eaten this movie up. It would have been like, this is badass, and this one's there, and that's awesome, and and I'm sure the critics are loving it as well. Yeah. But while sitting in it, so I'm sitting there, and the first hour just trying to grasp at what the story was, it just wasn't making it. It was making the first hour was making me so angry,
right?
Because of what happens.
Okay.
So all of I'm gonna tell you because it really doesn't spoil anything. You see it all happen in front of you. So all of these people encompass the actress's name is
Jennifer
Lawrence. Thank you. Encompass her house, and she kind of has it perfect,
right?
And they come in and kind of fuck it up a bit.
Sure.
And they're not leaving. And I'm like, okay, all right. If this was me, you need to leave now. Okay, I'm like, and that was the first hour. And because this thing went for 2 hours, the second hour, I literally let it go. I let it all wash over me, and I went, okay, give me everything you got. And it just went full tilt. And I was like, yeah, I get it, And even the stuff that was meant to elicit reaction, I was over it by that point.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm kind of done here. I want to go see my son.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is
enough.
hilarious because, movies as you grow older, I didn't want to become this person, Tyson. I didn't want to become a person who has a child and then doesn't have time for, I don't have time for this boring, whatever the fuck this movie is.
Well, it's kind of, if something's not working for you, then instantly it's kind of like, is this the way I want to spend my time?
Exactly.
That's a natural reaction to have. It's not even something it's not even isolated to movies.
Yeah.
If I'm somewhere and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah, I'm out.
It's kind of like, you know what? I'm too old. I'm too old to be spending time doing shit that I'm not enjoying.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather be doing stuff that I fucking enjoy,
and,
or people that I like spending
and
time
look,
with.
For when it's about a movie. I mean, when you're at the cinema, it's kind of like you want to sit through it. You've spent some money.
Yeah.
I'll give it to the end so I can totally assess it.
Yeah.
But man, if I'm at home and I'm 45 minutes into a movie and I know it's not for me.
Yeah. Bang off.
Life's too short, man.
Yeah, totally.
And there are too many movies to spend time watching the ones that aren't for you.
That's so true.
So
true.
Look, I'm still gonna give it a watch.
Give it a watch because I'd like to.
I've
hear
heard
what
from
you
so
think.
many different people such polar opposite reactions.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the middle. There's no you can't be in the middle.
Yeah.
And I like films like that. I like the idea of a film that literally you either will love it or hate it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think most good art should probably do. So it's kind of I'm on board for that.
Yeah, fair deal. I think I built it up because it was Aronofsky. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
There was back to back from, The Fountain, The Wrestler, Black Swan. That was like that's an amazing box set right there. They're amazing movies to me.
Yeah, and look, he's for some people maybe he's on an upward trajectory, and for some people he might be on a downward.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's what I like. I like that other people. It would be boring if we all found movies that we all like the same movies and we all hated the same movies.
Yeah.
That's boring. I don't want that.
That's the kind of director he is, though. Like it's he wants to kind of appeal to extremities of human kind of consumption of film. So I don't think he cares about making a film that's going to be like, oh, that was okay. Like,
exactly.
That's not his interest at all.
That's so true, yeah.
He wants to make a movie that you're either going to love or hate.
That's so true.
So,
after I saw it, I read, because I don't touch anything until I've seen the movie, which is, comes sometimes bad, sometimes good.
Yep.
But I finally read the statement that he brought out at the film festival with Mother. And if you are going to see it, I do think that everyone should read the statement before they see the movie. I know
amazing.
It's really stupid, but
no, look, man, that's.
But I think it helps.
The idea of a director wanting you to read an accompanying kind of piece of literature before seeing a movie.
Yeah,
I'm up for that.
I
like that kind of shit.
You like that kind of shit.
I like because I've heard about things like directors sending specific notes to projectionists saying, I need you to project this at
a certain rate.
I need that. Don't change the color ratio I want the volume to be set at this decibel level because it is important for the context of the film. Even something like Hateful Eight, being able to go and having the old school program that you got at the roadshow showing and having the interval and the overture.
Yes.
Like that makes...
It's an experience.
They make it an experience and contribute to the overall your overall enjoyment and appreciation of it. So I've got no issues with something like that.
Yeah.
And if he wants that to be part of it, it should be part of it.
It should. It really should.
And there's no reason why it can't be.
One of my favorite ones of those things that we're talking about is, I don't know if you've seen Irreversible, which is...
yes, I have.
Oh, you have,
yes.
right. So the start of that, the director made the decibel level of the sound that you're hearing into a certain state where you can feel... queasy. So he's turned it to a certain level there, and it goes for a certain length of time.
Okay.
So that you feel, what's the word I'm looking for?
Nauseous?
Thank you. Nauseous. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, look.
I know, I love that stuff.
Yeah, there's
If you're
heaps of
having that
different
effect,
sound.
that's awesome.
It's really interesting what sound waves can do to your mental state.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Cool. All right.
But yeah, that was mine. What was your last one?
Last one was another one that I saw on Netflix. It's a Netflix original called Little Evil. It's a comedy film. Came out this year.
Yeah.
Starring Adam Scott from Parks and Rec and Party Down and.
I love Adam Scott.
Yeah, he's awesome. And Evangeline Lilly from Lost and Wasp from Ant-Man.
From Lost and Wasp.
Exactly. And it is a story of Adam Scott is recently married to Evangeline Lilly, and she has a 5, soon-to-be 6-year-old son who may or may not be the Antichrist.
Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Damien.
Yes, exactly. His name is Jason. Is it Jason?
Really?
Yeah, I think he's...
That's hilarious.
Hang on,
Let me look it up.
You might need to look it up.
Victor? No.
No.
That's a man. Little kid. Lucas?
Sorry, it's Lucas. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't Jason. I've got Jason on the mind, clearly. Yeah, so his name's Lucas, and he's dressed up exactly like the kid from The Omen.
Oh,
Like
that's
it's exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And there's references all the way through this thing to everything. Like there's a really great gag with 2 little twin girls standing in dresses that he sees at a park. And he freaks out, but then their dad just drives up in a car and goes, "Girls, come on!" And they go, "Hey!" and run into the car, and just stuff like that. So that it knows its audience. It's having a really good time. Directed by Eli Craig, who is the director and writer of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh,
so
rad
you already know what kind of tone you're dealing with and what kind of what appreciation of the horror genre you're going to get into. Like he loves it and he wants to have a good time with it. He
revels in it.
And look, it's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering where it was going to go, and it turned with about 25 minutes left and went from being okay to I loved it.
Yep.
And then it didn't quite stick the landing.
Right.
And so, there is a moment in this film where I was completely caught off guard. And we thought I was just watching a little fun kind of, like it's a horror kind of comedy.
Yeah.
It's got, it's wearing its influences on its sleeve. And then all of a sudden, I was like wildly emotionally invested in this relationship.
Yeah.
And was getting really kind of like choked up on it. And I'm like, well, I did not expect this from this film. And so that was really... I found that really impressive.
That's cool.
I would love to know your opinion on this because it says a lot about father and son relationships.
Right, cool.
And I think it says it in a really poignant way that you would not expect from something like this.
Okay. I'm going to end up bawling my eyes out, aren't I?
Well, I was on the verge for a big portion of this, so I could only imagine.
Yeah, fair deal.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll give it a watch.
You've got like Clancy Brown doing a villain, doing like like an evil priest kind of role.
Yeah.
It's all really,
Sally Field,
really fun. Sally Field. Well, because it's funny enough, I was like, what the fuck is Sally Field in this? Eli Craig is Sally Field's son.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which I did not know.
Yeah.
And so I had a very similar reaction. I'm like, what the fuck is Sally Field?
Sally Field.
And she's great. She plays a child welfare worker who is investigating the what's goings on, because obviously when the child is the Antichrist, there are some interesting things happening. Like I said, liked it, loved it, then just liked it again. So it works out to be a good, solid watch. Definitely recommend it. And some really great laughs, and some really effective uses of music. I've never had a more effective use of Tom Sawyer by Rush in a song. It was fucking awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best reviews I think I've ever heard for a film. So specific. I liked it, then I loved it, and then I liked it again. I think that should be used for a lot of films.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
Little Evil on Netflix. Yeah, get on it.
Cool.
All right,
Tys.
It's time for... Although the thing says feature program because I couldn't find a spooky feature presentation.
It works.
But it works.
I love it. It works.
So maybe for October we'll call it feature program.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
we're talking.
Friday the 13th.
We are Friday the 13th from 1980.
Just quickly, did you know there was a spoof called Saturday the 14th? I did not know that.
I did read that, and I'd never heard of that ever.
Neither have I.
Is there even a poster for it on IMDb?
There is, yeah. Yeah. Do you want it?
Yeah, I'll have a squiz.
Saturday
the 14th. That's.
14th.
I mean, they honestly
came out in 1981. Nick was born. Look at that shit. It looks bad. It looks hella bad.
Oh wow. Wow.
That is cashing in, isn't it?
That looks amazing.
I know, right?
Is there anyone of note in that?
No, I don't think so. I don't.
Oh, it comes up pretty early in this.
Oh, Jeffrey Tambor.
Yeah.
Fucking,
Wow.
BAFTA winning? No. Something winning, Jeffrey Tambor. What a champ.
There's some names in this.
There's no names in this.
Interesting. Who? Howard R. Cohen. Deathstalker. Fuck yes.
We're getting off track, Tyson.
We are getting off track.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm never going to watch that movie.
Yeah, fair deal. All right, well, first question, Tys.
Yes.
Because I wasn't here for last week.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you.
Sure.
Did you watch Hellraiser in the dark, Tyson?
No.
Did you watch it at night, Tyson?
No.
No, okay.
No.
Was the sound up?
No, because I watched it on my laptop.
Okay.
So the sound only went as far as it could go.
God damn.
No, I had a bit of trouble tracking down Hellraiser.
Oh, fair deal.
It's actually, it's not able to be rented anywhere online.
No, that's true. That's very true.
I had to watch it on YouTube of all fucking places.
Shit.
And so the print wasn't fantastic,
Oh,
unfortunately.
damn.
But that
What about-
I don't think that particularly changed my experience
fair deal.
because the visual elements of it were some of the most effective. So I would have only liked them more. So
It's true. What about Friday the 13th? That night?
No, I watched it this morning.
Oh, lovely. With my coffee and my bagel.
I watched it about 10:30 a.m.
Oh, nice.
11 a.m.
I can't do that.
Got up,
A
had
lot
some
of my friends
breakfast.
can do that. They get up in the morning, bang, a movie
Oh,
on.
I love watching movies in the morning.
First thing in the morning?
Yeah, I love going to the cinema
Oh,
in the morning.
That's a bit different.
It's so good.
That's lovely.
man, taking
Yeah.
a toasty into the cinema is one of the last
it's
many
you.
pleasures.
It's you.
Oh,
You're
man,
doing that.
Cheese
No, I'm kidding.
toasties
I'm
don't
kidding.
stink out of joint.
No, they don't.
If anything,
they
they make
smell
people
lovely.
go, I want a fucking
I'm
toasty.
fucking starving now. Give me that.
Give me
Oi,
some.
I give you a tenner for your fucking
Yeah.
toasty.
Oh, I'd take that tenner. Then go buy 2 toasties.
You go buy 2
This
toasties.
is how economics work.
Exactly.
So I did watch it in the morning.
Fair deal.
I watched a HD stream off
lovely.
Google Play.
Yeah.
Which looked fucking great. By the
Yeah.
way, like really great transfer. You could see some of the noise, the flicker noise and stuff. But
Yeah,
I like
That's
seeing
okay.
that. It makes me feel like
it's
I'm
nostalgic.
watching like the film print.
Yeah.
Even though I'm clearly
Yeah, when it gets going.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
like
It's
that.
cool.
I want that.
But yeah, this was I don't know. You can assume pretty much with anything we watch during Halloween.
Yep.
It's the first time I've seen this.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This is the first time you've seen Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And because I haven't seen many of this series. I've seen Jason X, the one
Yeah.
in space.
I think
I've seen Freddy vs. Jason.
I've seen Freddy
and
vs. Jason.
I have seen either 4 or 6. Because it was when I was really young.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was I can't remember because
And it
they're
was
both
on TV?
It's either because they've both got similar names. One's like
Jason Takes Manhattan.
no, it's
Hang on,
it's
right,
it's
hang on,
either
right,
the
right, right.
last chapter or Jason Lives or something, or is that the 5th one?
Okay, hang on.
I definitely haven't seen the 5th one because I know the 5th one is the one that doesn't actually have Jason
Yeah,
in
it doesn't have that
Someone
Jason
just
in it.
pretending to be Jason.
All right, so Friday the 13th Part 2, Friday the 13th 3, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which is 4.
Yeah. What's the 6th one?
Jesus Christ. Why don't they put these in order for us? Yeah, no, I can't do this. There's way too many.
On the
Why didn't they?
They do it down the bottom of the IMDb page.
Do they?
Yeah. There's a little bit down the bottom where it says followed by, and they do them in order down there.
Motherfucker.
You motherfucker.
You motherfuckers. Oh, this is your first time. That makes me really happy that we're doing this.
Yeah, that's part
And
of the reason why I
pisses me
wanted
off
to.
even more that it's we're recording this too early. Because Tyson's first watch of Friday the 13th could have been on Friday the 13th in October.
Instead, it's not. Instead, it's
A
definitely
life
not.
tick, man. That is amazing.
Yeah, so, okay, Jason
Gone.
Lives.
Jason Lives. Okay, so that's 4.
That's 6.
That's 6.
So, yeah, I've seen 3 out of the 10 of them or whatever. So,
okay.
Well,
I've only seen 1. I've only seen 1 and 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they were ages ago. I remember my video store didn't have 2, and I was pissed off.
Right.
So that for me as a kid, I'm like, well, I can't watch any of them yet because I don't know. I'm not going to skip a chapter.
Yeah,
Fuck
fair
off.
call.
I don't know what's going to happen. So I waited. We family went on a trip to Harvey Bay in Queensland, and to visit my cousin. And they're like, okay, kids, have your fish and chips, and you can go to the video store, grab something. Friday the motherfucking 13th, part 2. I went, boom, I'm grabbing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't remember anything.
Hesh and Sack, Jason.
Hesh and Sack, Jason.
That's all I know about that one.
That's it.
So this, first watch. And I would say, like, just as for initial reaction, and this might change the more we talk about it.
Sure.
Is that I enjoyed it to a certain degree.
Yeah. I think, this day and age, you can only do that. Does that make sense?
I agree. It's funny. I'm sure one day one of these slashes that I watch will have a similar effect on me as did Scream for the first time.
Right.
I can't really even truly put into words the experience of watching Scream the first time.
Yeah,
how just
petrified.
Yeah.
Absolutely petrified.
And so I'm sure that I will, obviously that doesn't mean I'm going to go on this wild hunt to find the most hardcore of all slashes, because I don't think that's it.
No.
I don't think that's what I want. There's something about how Scream is written and directed and performed that is leaps and bounds above these earlier attempts. And that's, that's not fair to entirely, because we're working in very different time periods.
Absolutely.
But
this, and it's kind of to a degree what happened with Hellraiser last week as well, is that what was kind of naturally accepted 30-something years ago now.
Yeah.
It's been 30 years? 27 years ago. Fuck. Jesus. No, 37 years ago. What am I saying? 37 years ago.
37 years ago. Yeah.
Like
that was a while.
You wouldn't get away with that now.
No, and of course things have changed. We've seen there's things that have happened in society that make horror movies have to evolve in order to scare you.
Well, horror movies have generally been thought of as reflections of what's happening in society at that time.
Absolutely.
That's pretty much that's been a lifelong kind of journey with them. They grow up with the world.
Yeah. Which is why we have things called friend requests now.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the really kind of direct representation of it, as we get Facebook horror movies.
Yeah.
But, even, things like, I don't know, like Jacob's Ladder that is like commenting on, post-traumatic stress disorder and, the general kind of backlash to the Vietnam War that brought on a lot of the 70s and 80s
horror films.
It's obviously a very different time, and I can enjoy it. I can separate myself from that and say no, let's just try and enjoy it with that awareness. And I think if I do that effectively enough, I enjoy this film. But it's very hard because you have to keep blocking out other things. You have to keep stopping yourself from judging it. I feel like I'm being like, well, that looked a bit shit. Hang on. It was 1980. And you know what? It actually doesn't look that bad, because some of the kills are great. I think some of the kills are really effective.
Really awesome.
Some of them not so much, but
some of the skin is a bit green and grey in some parts. And you know what? That's fine.
But I love that. Like, there's still something about that looks better than
CG blood. Or CG slash.
Yeah, will always look better.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's real. Like that first kill. We'll get into the kills later, but that first kill of Annie,
the hitchhiker.
Yeah, the hitchhiker. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of blood. Not a lot of blood came out. She got her throat slashed, and it was as realistic as they could get it. It looked okay to me.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just on that though, Annie was my favourite.
Well, yeah,
she was so nice.
Annie's a good character, and I think a lot of the things that I've heard in the past about this is that it was kind of Friday the 13th. It can be a little bit. I don't think it's regarded as a particularly great film.
No.
I think people kind of appreciate that what it kicked off, and it brought us one of the all-time great horror icons.
Yeah.
But the film itself wasn't really highly regarded, and a lot of people kind of think that it's ripping off a lot of other better horror movies, and you've got a very obvious kind of example there in the Psycho kind of
Oh yeah, absolutely.
build up what you think is going to be your lead character, only to have them murdered quite quickly.
Which I love.
Yeah, which is always
really works.
It's usually pretty effective, and I think it works in this case.
In Scream as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the director, Sean Cunningham, has come out and said, look, I blatantly, I was jumping on the Halloween bandwagon. Halloween was the biggest movie of that year that it came out.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was to bring out something as big. And I ripped off so many things. And that's why I think they're not... Because I watched the making of after this, which was really good, actually, because it was so quick and it just chucked in so much information really quickly. Where the fuck was I going with that?
Sean Cunningham stole all his shit, and you watched the making of.
Oh yeah. So he knew what he had, but they kind of say, look, we knew it wasn't going to be a great movie. We were just jumping on the Halloween bandwagon, and the fact that it did do so much money is great. But what I like about this movie is that this is a first for a lot of things. Like Texas, so Psycho was the first. Texas came out in 1973, I think it is. And then Halloween. And then this is the first. Kids go on a camp to wherever, and there's a killer on the loose.
Yeah, well, I mean, the trope of the camp counselors and the promiscuous kind of teens getting knocked off one by one.
Yeah.
I feel like
this is the first one.
Maybe not maybe not the first, but definitely what popularized it to the degree that it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go back and you'd probably find some
Tons of other...
like really low budget, barely released thing from 1978.
Yeah, I haven't even mentioned blaxploitation films and all of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there's the Black Christmas movie that I think is generally regarded as the first slasher.
Oh, okay.
Decent. And even that is kind of argued to some degrees and stuff like that. So it's
maybe it was.
But this is definitely it popularized that element to it. That real kind of teenage driven. I mean, obviously there was a group of teenage kids in Halloween, but this isolated location where they could just run rampant with the killer. And I mean,
and they've got nowhere to go. Like in Halloween, she's in a street. She can go to other people's houses. In this, they literally have nowhere to go.
Exactly. And I think this might have been, I might be overstating, but I feel like it's one of the first ones that kind of equated that promiscuity with death.
The writer, Victor, what was his name? Victor Miller, said that his mum said that if you had sex before, she was very much, if you have sex before you get married, something bad's going to happen to you. So he took that and ran with it and just said, sure, why not?
And that's become
synonymous with horror.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also the idea of the crazy harbinger.
I loved him.
What's his name? Crazy Ralph or some shit.
Ralph.
And I think this is one of the first.
Scary, though.
What was funny is because as I was watching it and he popped up, my immediate reaction was like, "Oh my god, am I watching the first crazy yokel?"
Yeah,
like
warning
the kids not to go out to somewhere. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is the first example of it."
Yeah, this is the first.
And that was exciting. That was genuinely is the word I'm wanting to say, not generally. Genuinely, a really exciting moment for me because I was like, "Oh wow,
this is the first." Yeah,
but I don't know if it is exactly, but
the fact that you're getting this and it's 1980 when this was made, this is why I think kind of this movie still stands. Because you're seeing these things for the first time, you're going to go back and go, "Oh my god, that was the first." Well,
it's almost like an educational experience. I think watching a film like this, I don't think I enjoy it. Like I wasn't scared.
No,
I wasn't like getting in the horror vibe of it. Like I wasn't like,
"Oh, don't go in there."
Yeah, none of that kind of stuff. I was watching it from the place of appreciating its more often than once, I was just like, "Oh, she did.
Oh, she's fat."
It's more like an appreciation of what the importance of these kind of films, and so critically they fucking got shat on.
Yeah,
Siskel and Ebert even they fucking ripped through it.
Yeah,
and to the point where I read that they printed Betsy Russell's address and said, "Write to her and tell her that you're ashamed of her for being in this film" or some shit.
Yeah.
So that's
a bit full on.
That's
a
full
bit
on,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's really full on.
Yeah.
And that's from Ebert doesn't necessarily hate horror movies. Like he usually he's voted, what's the word, rated very highly certain horror movies before. But this one they just
But that's the thing, like we've said, I don't know. Halloween is a much better movie than Friday. The original Halloween is a much better movie than Friday the 13th, I feel.
Okay.
I can see Ebert kind of giving that more credit.
Okay.
And this is him saying, well, this is just a rip-off of Thingo.
I honestly, it's been like that was another one I watched when I was 10 or 12. So I honestly have no recollection of it whatsoever. For all I know, yes, I from all accounts and purposes, yes, it is better.
Yes, it is better. Yeah.
Yeah. So whether or not that would be similar to someone watching it for the first time at the same time, we'll see. Sure. But for someone like John Carpenter has become John Carpenter. Sean Cunningham has less of a kind of a name. He's you're seeing the work of an actual kind of auteur director in Halloween, whereas in this you're seeing the work of someone who, like you've said, freely admits
that he was ripping off.
That I was ripping off stuff because I knew, which is smart. Like,
absolutely,
it means that he's a very movie savvy kind of guy. I think he did a lot of producing, and it shows
of the other ones. Yeah,
well, even just in general, I feel like I've seen his name pop up as a producer on a few things. It might be just a similar name.
What was I going to say? No, it's gone.
It's gone?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's an important experience, and I'm glad I got to finally do it. It's been one of those things that I've always been like, I'm going to watch these at one point. Yeah. I'm finally going to get around to it. And it's good because I've started now. I've started Hellraiser. Exactly. I've started this. I can finally kind of go, do you know what? I'm going to smash a few of these out. I might not,
I'm watching...
For Hellraiser, I'm not going to go past 3. There's no, like,
I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3 because it's got me that Hellraiser's premise is, like you said last week, that's a good premise. Someone, a good director could take that and use it really well. But yeah, I didn't realize there were so many Hellraiser sequels. Oh, I was like, oh my God, there's even one coming out this year. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I didn't. And you know what's funny? I didn't even realize when we were talking about that last week. I didn't even think.
Yeah.
Because I haven't, of course, the last I heard was that there was a remake coming.
Yeah.
And then, after recording, when I was kind of looking through and checking out the posters and stuff, I was like, oh my God, we didn't even mention that there was a new one.
Yeah.
Brand spankers one coming out in 2017.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And not when it landed, but when you guys recorded, I believe it was Clive Barker's birthday.
No shit.
Hilariously enough.
Wow.
Straight on the money. How good is that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hope he didn't listen.
No, I tweeted.
Oh, it's my birthday.
No, I tweeted him. I said, "Oi, listen to our podcast."
No shit.
I totally did.
Wow. He would not like it.
He might like it. You know why? You know why I think he might like it? Because of what I liked about it. I liked it because you and Nicole weren't big. You're big fraidy cats. You're big. The fact that Nicole goes through and reads the Wikipedia, that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was nice to see that aspect coming from something that because of the cover and Pinhead being such a big icon that you think it's going to be a fucking scary movie.
Yeah.
But unfortunately it's not. But
you just want to have a shower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So, let's talk about Friday the 13th.
All right. Go on.
What works? What doesn't work?
What works?
Because I feel like one's a shorter conversation than the other.
That's true. What works? What doesn't work?
What works is
go on.
I think the kids are not a bad bunch. Like, in terms of, I think they define their characters relatively well.
Yes.
I feel like they're not particularly fantastic performances.
That's true.
But...
Even by Kevin Bacon.
Well, he doesn't really have much to do.
No.
None of them really have much to do.
Yeah. Seriously.
And, like, you've got the kid...
But we're not...
Donnie? Is it Donnie? Who basically is just...
Is the goofball
a
of
racist.
the bunch. He was a bit racist, wasn't he?
Like when he's got the Native American thing and he's running around. I'm like, and I mean, different times.
It's not
whatever.
Coachella, mate. Come on. You fucking loser.
Yeah.
But because of that, I feel it was the same. It was a bit ups and downs. They were a good bunch, but I didn't get to know them, so I didn't really give a care.
No, I did care
about Annie.
Do you know what's really funny is that the bit that endeared me to Annie was actually one of the most ridiculous moments.
Oh God, her talking to the fucking
dog. And she walks down.
Do you know where Camp Crystal Lake is?
Oh, it's this way.
Oh, it's this way.
I'm like, what? Did that dog actually? What? Did that dog really just tell her which way to go?
Thanks. Gee, Willigers, you're so nice.
And she's like, when she says, "Oh, hey there, girl."
You're a boy.
Boy. I'm like, did you just check out his junk? Either or. I find it was such a weird little moment, but it totally endeared me to her. It's like, because do you know what? I'd probably do the same thing, and because I have to assume that she knew exactly where she was going, and she just saw a dog that she wanted to pat, and she went and had it. Because if I'm doing something like if I'm making dinner, right, and my cats come out,
you talk to them.
I'm talking to them, and I'm like, "Have we got any chicken?" Of course, I know we've got chicken because I'm about to cook it. I'm like, "Let's go look. Here it is."
You should see the conversations I talked about with my son. It's hilarious.
Exactly. Yeah. So and it just endeared me to her really quickly, even though it was just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. And I did like that how she went into, she didn't have her harbinger, or she kind of had her harbinger moment where she went into the service station or shop or whatever it is, or the diner.
And they all kind of
turn to her and go, "Wow, they're opening Camp Crystal Lake again."
Yeah.
But her face is like, "Does anyone know where this place is?"
Exactly. Oh, gee willikers.
She's wanting to go, "Oh, Marsha.
Exactly.
She was so lovely. But yeah, she died. She jumped from a car and died in the ice.
Yeah, and look, that's an effective one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that works pretty well. I think there's a good build up to that because I think as soon as she gets in the car and as soon as you move into POV, you know that we're dealing with the killer.
Yes. I think that worked for the movie quite well. I think that all the POV stuff.
It saves on everything. It means that you don't have to design your killer.
Yep.
It means that you don't have to try and get this actor or actress, depending on, obviously, spoilers for fucking Friday the 13th, but you don't have to have this, I guess about 50 to 60-year-old woman at the time running around performing stunts and trying to do all that kind of stuff.
It made it more sinister, though, the fact that it was just
it puts you in the POV, so you feel that kind of, that voyeuristic nature of it. It's a complete rip of the opening of Halloween.
Halloween, yeah.
Which does a very similar thing for a lot of its running time as well. Yeah. But you're right, it does work. And then, so obviously when we move into the POV with Alice, we know that shit goes down and then the music kicks into gear. And so it effectively built the tension. I think it did okay, but it was as good or as bad as most of them. I feel like for the ones that are on screen, because there's a couple that are actually off screen, which are disappointing. I think that we don't get to see that.
We don't have enough budget. We're gonna but you have a shot of them later.
You see the corpse.
You see the corpses of both of because there's two that you don't see. No,
there's three. Yeah,
3 that you don't see.
Yeah, so
but you see their corpses later.
That's it. And I think Donnie's one
was it?
Well, I don't want to say if it's I think it's probably the most effective reveal of the body.
Oh, okay, that it's on the above the bunk. Yeah, because the one through the window was just shit.
Well, it's also kind of like, so you're telling me this old lady just threw a corpse through a window?
Yeah, because she's.
Yeah, I get it. Mrs. She's crazy. She's probably got a bit
crazy
of
strength.
Crazy adrenaline running through her and
crazy
shit.
strength on her.
Crazy people strength.
Crazy people strength.
Yeah, I get it.
They're a lot stronger. Come on.
Still, I get it. I'm not saying she couldn't pick them up.
Oh, I'm just saying
she's throwing them through a window. That's a bit much. Anyway, that whole twist. Let's save that for later.
Okay. What else worked?
I liked how Donnie's reveal. So they're banging on the bed and it pans up and his corpse is there.
Good reveal.
It was nice, and it very kind of clearly does the juxtaposition of the sex and the death that has obviously become synonymous with all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
Which I liked, and I was like, yeah, good. That's a nice placement. Although someone smarter than me did bring attention when I was reading something that the killer must be very clever because they walked into a room with 3 different bunk beds
and sexed on the one that
had the killer underneath it and the body on top, just very conveniently.
She might have climbed underneath.
Maybe look,
Mrs. Voorhees is very cunning
and nimble.
Yeah,
and maybe when they were banging,
take a fucking punch.
Yeah. No, maybe when they were banging, she just kind of
slipped underneath. Maybe that's a thing, Oh,
sneaking under bunks and people are banging on them.
That's nasty.
But who's the guy at the end who I feel like gets a bit shortchanged?
The major camp counselor?
No. Played by Crosby.
Oh, Harry Crosby. Bill. The guy gets arrows.
Yeah, I feel bad for Bill because I think he's a really interesting character as well.
Yeah.
And look, he was always going to get it. Because we need the final girl, and that's important.
Yeah.
And I think I just wanted to see him have a slightly more.
You wanted,
I wanted to be a little bit more active in the death, instead of it being
because you'd had 3.
And
where you didn't see anything, you needed that hunt of Mrs. Voorhees coming after him.
Yeah, even just like have him, because he seemed kind of resourceful. He seemed like he was there. He was trying to help. He was doing the right things. Him and Alice had a nice kind of. Is it Alice? No, Alice.
Alice?
The main girl.
Yeah, Alice.
Yeah. Had a nice chemistry and a nice relationship going on. I just feel like it would have been. I would have found it more effective if his death was a little bit more. We were a bit more of a participant in it, because it would have been a bit sadder. I think, and a little bit more kind of. And now she's really on her own.
She's on her own. Yeah,
and
that's
I think
so
it would have brought a bit more strength to that. So I don't mind the other ones because as characters they didn't
do anything
as much, but I liked Bill.
Fair deal.
Yeah,
I would have liked it. I'd like to see what happens, because all we see apart from Kevin Bacon's death scene, you don't see guys scared enough. You don't see guys petrified for their lives running.
No,
like a final
it's true.
girl would.
I was reading something about that, and
which I would have liked. I would have liked it because Bill was very. It wasn't a man's man. He wasn't a lumberjack or anything like that. But he wanted to help. He was like, no, I'm going to see if she's okay. And he was very wholesome and lovely. And he was, he talked to the police officer when he came with respect. He said, no, sorry, we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, he was the one that, while fucking Donnie's running around playing Apache Warrior and Kevin Bacon. I love how he just picks up the fucking...
Yeah, picks up Kevin Bacon's like, oh yeah, I'm going to have a go.
Here we go. And the cop's just like...
the fuck are you doing, dumbass?
Give that to me? I can fucking arrest you. Yeah. Don't touch my shit.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, the fact that Bill was very, wholesome in that, I wanted to see how he would react. Yeah. To
and look, I think,
and
that's what I think it would have been interesting, because it would have been one of those ones where he gives it a good run, and he might have, maybe had the upper hand for a moment, but then something happened, and so there would have been a sense of a little bit of tragedy in that. Yeah. And that could have been effective. But, that's neither here nor there, really. We can't kind of nitpick.
I think it kind of worked, how
they choose to kill these characters. We know they're all going to die at some point. Yeah. So.
And that's another thing about these movies, especially going back, if you're going to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th series, they are all going to die.
Yes, exactly.
And that's kind of where slasher movies sit with everyone now, is that everyone's like, oh, you're stuffed. Yeah, you're gonna die, and it's waiting for them to.
What I found interesting about this setup, the everyone's gonna die kind of thing that is now, we go into it with so much awareness. We just go in knowing that Alice. Well, I mean, there's an argument that the first girl, what's her name?
Annie.
Annie. Well, that's confusing.
Gee willigers.
No wonder I was thinking...
Alice and Annie. Yeah, no, it's please, all of them. Look at this. Alice, Marcy, Annie, Jack, Bill, Brendan, Ned. No. They're just one... There's no...
Jack, Brendan?
Brenda.
Oh, Brenda.
Sorry.
Who's
Brendan? Ned?
Yeah. So we're pretty sure that the final girl is going to be Alice. Could have been Annie. Maybe that's why we're led to believe initially, but then once we meet Alice, it's clear that, okay, so she's going to be the final girl.
Yeah.
But that's an awareness that we have now. It would be very different back then. What's funny is that, when I was reading just kind of reactions to the film, is that generally... if you went into it in 1980, it would have been a mystery. You would have been trying to think of which of the kids or which of the other people was committing the murders.
Yeah. Because it set it up that Crazy Ralph was maybe...
Somehow he got his fucking way to the camp.
Yeah.
And so, so maybe it's Crazy Ralph. Yeah, maybe it is Crazy Ralph. Maybe it's the cop that came and visited.
Maybe it's the cop.
Maybe it's the guy who...
In the truck.
Because
he was fucking weird.
Beginning. Maybe it's the guy that set up the camp again, that spent all this money. Maybe he's doing it because he's going to collect on insurance or some shit.
Christie, what's his name? What was his name? Steve Christie or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, though, because having the knowledge that we do, I don't ever think that way watching this film. And it took me... after the film, reading someone else's reaction to it, for me to go, oh yeah,
they would have said it would have
been. It's a mystery.
Yeah, it is. It would have been.
Yeah, it's funny how it, like, Scream is still. Sorry to keep coming back to Scream
because these things are connected.
Scream is still incredibly effective once you know who the killers are. Right,
oh,
it almost becomes more effective because then you are seeing how they managed to do what they do.
Yeah.
Scream was a mystery. Scream was who is the killer? Who is Ghostface? And because they put all these red herrings up, they do all this stuff. There was none of that in this. No. There are no red herrings. There's it's not anything kind of leading you. No false scares. No after somebody has been killed. No kind of awkward, oh, what were you doing here? Oh, I was just getting my jacket.
I was just grabbing my bag.
To make us go, oh,
You
maybe.
fucker.
There's none of that.
No, there's none
so,
of that.
yeah, it's a mystery, but it's not. Like, it's not a mystery. It's the killer just comes out of nowhere at the end and you go, oh, it was them.
Oh, who the fuck is this
it
old
was
lady?
this person that we don't know anything about who tells us a story about the very first scene in the movie that by now we've forgotten.
Yeah. Oh, which I loved. I loved that first scene.
The first scene's good.
Except for those songs. Those songs were way too wholesome for me. Jesus.
Man, that's what they're doing on camp. I
made
love that
me
they're
throw
singing
up.
God songs and they go, I've finished singing, let's go fuck.
I know.
One of my favourite shots was when it cut to the girl playing guitar and she's stopped strumming, but the guitar's still playing, and her right hand literally just stops, but the guitar still goes. I'm like, yeah, that's some nice work. That's some good guitar acting right there.
One of the things, I don't know why I'm going to bring this up, but it's a good thing to bring up is what happens with these type of movies and what kind of the movies that spun it on its head. So how we were talking about who's going to die in what order. When you go into a movie like this now, you're like, oh, okay, everyone's going to die. The movie that spun that on its head was Final Destination. You had no fucking idea where it was going to come from and from who and from how. And that was what made Final Destination, those movies really awesome.
They're really effective. I mean, there's a couple of not as enjoyable ones in there. Yeah. But, you know,
I remember 2 being better than 1.
2, I would say 2 is better than 1. One might be the worst.
Really? No, because I remember the bus. Wasn't the bus good? There was a bus scene in 1.
Oh, someone
where
gets
they
hit
just
by a
turn
bus.
And
Yeah. I mean, there's some great moments in it, but 1 is Anyway, we'll get to them. Yeah. We'll get to them at some point. I do like talking about the Final Destination films.
You do. All right.
But yeah, this order, I think. Well, okay, so there's so much movie, right?
Yep. Well,
where it's set up. And it's a pretty effective setup.
Sure.
Then it
turns nighttime.
Then there's a few deaths.
Yep.
And I remember thinking to myself, oh, there's only 3 of them left. And we've got a fair bit of this movie left.
Yeah.
And then there is this lull.
Yeah.
Where nothing
It's
happens.
just a wait.
Because you get, obviously, the hitchhiker goes first.
And he goes first.
And then it's Donnie.
No, his name's Ned. Why do we keep saying Donnie?
What? I've been saying Donnie.
We've been saying Donnie the whole time. His name's
because
Ned.
someone calls him Neddy. That's why.
That's
and
right.
I got that through my sorry.
So it's Ned, which you don't see.
You don't see.
You don't see him.
And then it's Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon,
and
Jack.
Is that Brenda?
Brenda, yeah.
Yeah. So
you see Brenda though. That's the one kill that I remember watching this for the first time when I saw it when I was working in the video store. That was the one that came out of nowhere with the axe in the face. I went, whoa, what the fuck?
Oh, the shot of the axe in the face is excellent. Excellent.
So good.
Like, it looks
especially
fucking
because
rad.
her eye is still blinking and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Dude.
Tom Savini does some killer work in this.
down,
like,
man.
really really great work. Yeah. So, those, and they're pretty effective. I like the Kevin Bacon one.
Yeah.
Like, not even just, the problem was because I knew it was coming because I've seen it so many times in like just internet form. Yeah. So, but that would have been really effective, that one, because out of nowhere, he's just having the ciggy and then bang, hand on the head, arrow through the neck. Really, really great. And I love that it's like the second after the blood drops because we're all waiting.
Yeah.
We're all sitting there and we've seen the corpse on the top. And that was my first reaction is that when is
blood
going to drip on?
Yeah, you normally have a reaction of him seeing it, putting 2 and 2 together for some reason takes 10 minutes in movies like this.
Exactly.
And you're like, what? But no, it was bang, crack, and he was dead.
Exactly.
Like,
and that was really good. And the whole kind of, like the bathroom kind of, that stalk of Brenda. It did go a little bit too long, but then we get the great axe in the face moment.
Yeah.
But then, then we kind of get nothing for ages. We get some strip Monopoly.
Which let's have a quick moment because strip Monopoly happens, which... Can I ask a question? I've never known
the rules
answer.
are ill-defined.
I know, no. Because I've played strip poker before back at uni and all that stuff. What happens when everyone is nude? What happens at the end?
Does someone win?
Does everyone just kind of look at the person and laugh in a really mean way? Or what happens?
Does everyone just kind of go,
oh, well, we're nude now. Shall we fuck? Or what the fuck happens?
Kind of, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I've never understood what happens with a nude something. Let's play strip something.
It's always presented in this kind of environment as like horny kids who are then going to like couple off.
Yeah.
And it's like...
But there was 2 girls and 1 guy in that.
And it didn't seem like the environment either. It was pouring rain outside. Like, we're having a couple of beers. We might have a little bit of a J. But...
And what's his name? Bill?
Yeah.
Is really wholesome. He's not going to take...
He seems like a kind of nice guy.
He's going to...
But then when it's like... The one that gets the one that goes down to the archery range. What's her name?
Marcy?
Sure. We might
This
be
is the thing,
confusing some of these names.
I don't know.
And I love how she's like, well, all right, so I'm going to go.
This is what I wanted to bring up.
We'll have to finish this later. I'm like, so does that mean tomorrow you go to the level
Where
of
you
clothing you were up to?
But not only that, she goes, okay, I'm going to head off. I forgot that my window's open in my cabin. She doesn't get dressed. She just puts a
on
jacket.
the jacket. Yeah.
She's in just underwear,
Look,
goes outside and
they find ways to keep the cast in their underwear.
No, I want you to be nude for this.
Like,
really?
The same thing happened with when
sense.
she's like, I want to go pee. And so, but she's still just in her knickers and a top.
And it is
so
pouring outside.
Yeah. And, so it's obviously,
yeah,
there is an element to these films that we always just have to deal with, is that they're aware that their audience would like to see these people in as little clothing as possible. So they find ways to make that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to know the rules specifically of strip
whatever,
because I get what. I get if you land on a property, you have to pay them with a piece of clothing.
Yeah.
But then what happens with when you put the hotel on there and stuff?
Yeah.
And it's
Do you get two?
And when you have to mortgage things to pay for other things.
What happens when you go to
what
jail?
If you get Do
you get clothes back in any way? Like,
well, that's what I'm kind of thinking. There must be a way to get clothes back, like on the chance card.
Yeah, maybe.
Or on the utilities.
You do one round.
You've won second place in a beauty contest. You get a piece of clothing back.
Awesome. No, listeners, we're not going to play strip. Just me and Tyson.
I might make the rules.
Okay.
I might write the rules up. That could be a fun little project.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, then you get...
we get this lull.
You get a lull.
But, and it's kind of broken up by them when Marcy, if her name is Marcy, Marcy or / Brenda. It could be either one of those.
No, Brenda's the... No,
Brenda's definitely one. I can't tell from the pictures.
I don't know.
So she goes into the same bathroom, doesn't get killed.
Does she?
Then gets killed later.
She gets killed later.
And then we have this moment between Bill and Alice where they finally realize that they haven't seen anyone for 5 hours. And I'm like, what is wrong with you two? I get it. It's pouring rain. You're in a camp council. And, if two people go off to have sex, you're probably not going to...
You're not going to go, hey...
Maybe after 5... But if that... Okay, so let's say they went to do that at... I don't know why I need to look at my clock then, because it doesn't make any sense. I was like, I'm about to talk about time, and so I had to look at the clock.
Time. That's hilarious.
So let's say they went to do that at 8 o'clock.
Sure.
Right? Generously, teenagers will be done in 45 minutes.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. They do have a beefy J to smoke.
Yeah.
So it takes another hour.
You are on a camp with your friends.
Yep.
Shortly after 2 hours, you go and knock and go... Hey, we're going to play Strip Monopoly. Come on.
Do you want to come?
Come and bring the J. And if you hear the muffled, no, we're good.
Yeah.
You leave them alone.
No, we're good.
But
all right, cool. Leave them for the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's I found it really strange that until that point, when they both kind of went, where the fuck is everyone? And then went from room to room. And I'm like, you should have done this 3 hours ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been on holidays with groups of friends before, and some have been couples and some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You generally keep in contact with everybody every half hour or so.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
you don't know where you are.
Yeah,
either.
we're gonna do this. Oh, do you want something to eat? Oh, we got some drinks. We're gonna have a drink. Do you want to have a drink? Yeah, we're gonna go down the lake. Yeah, cool. No, we'll come back a bit later.
Yeah.
There's just no contact between anybody, and
that's so true.
It just rings a little false, and I know that it's obviously to a purpose.
I will give it its comeuppance. That just makes no sense.
I
will not say that. I will give it its due. This happens quite quickly. This
is what I wrote. Is it just happening really fast?
Yeah.
Is it basically an hour from the sun going down to then her finding? Because it could potentially all happen almost in real time.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, sure. And if so, Mrs. Voorhees, I don't know what you do, but you are one healthy motherfucker if you're going to kill all these people.
And this is... why don't we get to the twist of it being Mrs. Voorhees? Because I think that's a problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
I like it in theory.
Okay.
Because I think it's unexpected and I think it's explained well. I think her motives are clear and effective.
Yeah.
And I think Betsy Palmer is giving a fucking killer performance.
She actually she scares me.
Yeah, she's very off-putting. She's really unhinged.
It's her killer, mommy.
Yeah.
Killer, and I'm like, whoa, this is a bit scary.
Yeah. I think she does that really well.
Yeah.
And I like how she turns really quickly as well because she's really quite and I assume it would have had the effect of it being a reprieve when you saw it back in 1980. It would have been like, oh, someone here to help, because
Thank God.
And you know, because I think she was a big time
she was a big time TV star.
TV star, and was on one of the
She was on a talk show or something.
Yeah, so there's that familiarity of people going, oh, it's Betsy Palmer, great. Oh,
yeah, she'll help.
What's going to happen now? Oh, maybe she's going to, and then when it slowly turns, so I'm sure that would have been very effective.
Yeah.
What it does make hard though is, it makes you then reflect on every previous murder, and I don't.
You don't. It doesn't glue
I don't
for
buy
you.
it.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
glue
I just
for
don't
you.
buy it.
Fair
I
deal.
like not even just in the logistics of her strength and her ability to be as nimble as she is, and her wits. Like she's very savvy. And very quiet.
But
she's
to
like
me,
a ninja.
To me, she's lived on this fucking camp for years. She knows this place backwards.
I get that she knows it. But it's also the fact that it was performed by a stuntman up to that point in order to not give it away.
Yep.
And it's pretty obvious. Like, there's just certain ways
the
that...
hand on Kevin Bacon is a man's
I don't know.
hand.
Yeah, it is a man's
looked,
hand, but I don't even think it's the actual... Like, because they needed, like, 4 different people to perform that stunt.
Yeah.
But even, like, you know, there's something about the way a man walks, and so you see the shots of the legs, and they just look like a man walking. Like, it's it's differently... I'm not saying it's like delicate and should be skipping in heels. It's not that. It's just the physicality of it. Like, they look like man's legs.
Yeah.
And she's an older lady with an older lady's body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from, I think, I agree with you. I think apart from Annie's kill at the start with the knife next onto the... Apart from that, I don't think Mrs. Voorhees could have done any of it. Realistically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would... Oh, she could have done... No, because you got to think, like, I mean, she does stab him through the neck pretty quick. How did she get, like, Will up onto the not Will, Bill. How did she get Bill impaled on the door with arrows? Like...
I think a smarter movie would have been able to a better directed movie would have been able to see that coming ahead, but I think I don't know. I don't think they thought that far through.
But it's a twist for a twist's sake in a way. But it also, it set us up for a huge legacy of this character.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You look at it and go, oh yeah, okay, blah blah blah. And it's a great trivia question when it comes up, and it's the thing that gets Drew Barrymore murdered in the first Scream film. So it had it's iconic.
It's pretty awesome.
And it just kind of you have to give in to that sense of disbelief. And just be kind of like,
totally.
No, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to have a good time. She somehow musters up the strength through sheer will.
She's got the crazy strength, Tyson, is what I'm saying.
That's what it is.
And she can take a beating. She took a frying pan. She took a fire poker. What else was there? There was something else.
It's like, I see the frying pan.
Yeah.
You got one of those fire pokers in the face and then in the back.
Yeah.
You're not walking, man.
And that's where I think Jason gets his strength from, because Jason doesn't fucking die.
No, it's true.
And
it's true.
I remember when I first watched this, the reveal was massive to me because it was Friday the 13th. I was expecting Jason. I was expecting him.
Right.
So for me,
it hadn't been spoiled for you.
No, it hadn't been spoiled for the first time I watched it. And I was like,
huge.
who the fuck is this? Who is this old lady killing everyone? And then she did the kill her, mommy, and it was oh, okay, you're a bit scary.
Yeah, I think she's effective for sure.
Yeah.
Like in that final scene, I just think it kind of throws out of whack a lot of what we've seen so far. The brute strength just required for some of that shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that. I love when she's got Alice in the end, and instead of stabbing her, she starts like smacking her around, like old school 1920s smacking around.
Well, Betsy Palmer was actually a stage actor, and she hit her.
Yeah, I love that.
A lot. And I was like, and the director had to come up and go, no, we don't hit people. I know, how good is that?
Yeah, we don't actually have to hit them. We film on certain angles and stuff.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Oh, I'm from the stage.
Full on.
We do it for real.
We do it for real with a cupped hand.
So good. But it's, and I'm like, you've got the knife right there.
Yeah.
Just do what you've done for everybody else, because everyone has a swift death.
Yeah, yeah.
But for some reason, for Alice, she just can't whip out the knife. She can't get it done.
I know we've had the lull, and the reveal is big, and then I feel that the running from Mrs. Voorhees is actually the best part of the film for me because I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
this is.
it
And
is,
why are you
except
in the
for that
pantry?
one
You fucking idiot.
2-minute shot where we watch the entire process of her barricading a door.
Oh, that was painful.
Which is painful. I
What are you doing?
couldn't believe how long it was going for.
There were a couple of shots like that in this movie where, especially when Annie walks from the dog all the way. You just set the camera and just walk up to the shop.
And there was one where, like, it looked like she was making like a cup of tea or something.
Yeah.
And we saw her walk like in and out of the pantry to get sugar, and then get something else, and then get something else. And like with Bill when he's checking the fuel in the in the generator.
Yeah.
There are so many times where we just see
You don't need to see
the
this.
entire process play out.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's just too long.
It's like
That's
someone
way
watching
too long.
someone wind a yo-yo back up.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck me.
Because it's so good. She shuts the door and then she tries to do the thing with the rope, and then she ties the rope, and then she gets the fucking coffee table and shoves it in front of it, and then but it doesn't quite work, and so she has to kick it over a little bit, and then she does.
Forget
one
it.
shot.
Forget it.
One shot.
One shot. The camera doesn't move.
Camera doesn't move.
Okay, and go.
And I realized that would be one of those shots that if you took the music out, it would be fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
If you changed the soundtrack to that shot,
Yeah.
it would be comedy gold.
Yeah, it would. It really would.
Yeah. So, padding the runtime. Padding the runtime.
Padding
But
it.
there's no
Padding
reason
it.
for this movie to go 95 minutes. It
No.
could go 80 minutes.
It can.
Why not just go 80 minutes?
Because I don't know.
Anyway.
It's a crazy thing.
Um,
How did you like the big reveal, the big scare?
I already knew about it
You
as well.
already knew
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
It's good. It's effective.
I liked it.
It is. It's the same kind of thing though. Like it's a shot set up with no relevance to reality. Why is she in the boat?
Oh, that's just stupid. Why
did she
how do you
get
feel
in the
safe
boat?
in the middle of she takes it out at night
Yeah.
and
Is
just waits
that
to the morning?
what it is? Is it like, is she so like disturbed that someone's going to get her that she thinks the only safe place for her is in the middle of the lake?
That's the only thing I can think of. Because she doesn't have a car. The car doesn't have batteries.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Because and it's so strange the way that she's like,
Lopped over.
Yeah.
She's sleeping. Because that is not comfortable. Have you sat in a canoe?
just having a nice little sit on the lake. Oh, the
I'm gonna have a
police are here.
sleep. It's
Very
fine.
good. Very good.
And Jason!
Like it would be, you would as the sun comes up, you would row that fucker back in. As the cops were coming up, you'd be like,
run.
"Hey, help me!"
Yeah.
It's weird, and it's
totally
going for
would.
this real kind of like ethereal quality to, and the music is fucking terrible.
Well, I think it's they're trying to tell the audience that, because it's daytime, everything is all better. Everything is, the police are here.
Exactly.
You're going to be
And look,
fine.
That's it. The concept of that scare, I think, is super effective. But in the reality, the execution of it, not so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it sets us up, and then we get that great. That means he's still out there.
Oh, that was terrible. I hated it.
It's bad.
It's so bad.
It's bad. That
Yeah,
hospital
he's
scene's-
out there.
It's no good.
It's no good.
But yeah, it's look, and we're just we're lucky enough that we get this character now. So
That's true.
Even if that was an afterthought, if that let's just make a jump scare at the end. Look what it resulted in,
It totally
and that's an
worked.
amazing
A
choice.
huge franchise.
Yeah,
A huge franchise.
because it wouldn't have happened without it.
Yeah.
It would have just been like a Psycho, that in the way
Yeah,
that it's just
that's
kind of
so
like.
true.
I mean, Psycho obviously had its sequels and stuff, but
Which
people
I
don't-
haven't seen. Have you
People
seen
don't,
it?
no, but you don't consider Psycho this standalone thing, and then there are also these sequels.
Absolutely.
and
Where this is kind of this is the origin story.
this might,
of Jason.
this is we know that we're watching the part one of a 10-part or fucking 12-part
15-part
story.
fucking story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Look,
can't
it's
wait
done.
for
It's
Jason
done
X.
enough for me to want to watch the
2
rest of
and
them
3
for
and
sure.
4 and 5.
Just because I know where it's going, and I know that the tone changes and it becomes a bit more kind of fun slasher as
Yeah.
well.
And then
we
it
get
turns itself in on itself.
yeah, and
there's-
then we get like I love the idea of the I can't remember which one it is when they capture him.
Yeah.
And they set up a
They
fake
set up a trap. I've seen that start. Yeah.
And like stuff like I think that one might have been in the Crystal Lake Memories doco.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is another thing
Oh,
I've seen.
you've
I've
seen
seen
all
that.
the docos.
Yeah, I've seen the Crystal Lake. Is it called Crystal Lake Memories or Crystal Lake?
I think it's called
It's-
Jason Memories, isn't it?
So because there's the Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street
the
one.
Elm Street
This
one.
was the Friday the 13th version of this. So it goes for like a disgustingly long amount of time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Crystal Lake Memories?
I have no idea.
Okay, you've got to see the runtime on this motherfucker. It's just,
It's huge.
Yeah, it's out of control.
I love that there's
Um,
always a TV show based on the There was a Nightmare on Elm Street TV show.
Well, there was a Friday the 13th. Was it an anthology show?
Yeah.
Which makes sense, I guess.
Friday the 13th X to Hell and Back.
Here we go. Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th. 6 hours and 40 minutes.
Whoa! Jesus.
So,
well, that's because it has so many sequels.
Yeah. And they go into it's really good. If you like Never Sleep Again, you've got to smash this one out as well. It's really. I had the exact same sensation. I went from one straight to the other because I was really? I'd heard that they were just so fucking good.
I mean,
so I know what I'm looking forward to with these.
Fair deal.
And so I can't. Yeah, I actually am a little bit excited. I think I'm going to try and
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
because I want to get to like 4, 5, 6 area, and I know I've heard it's not great, but I love the concept of 7, the coming up against the psychic girl, the girl with
I want to
psychic ability. No, she's not psychic. She's telekinesis.
Oh, okay. I want to see the Manhattan one. Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
I mean, it sounds great. It sounds awesome.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway, I reckon that might wrap us up on that discussion.
I think that's it. Friday the 13th, people.
We need to. Have you got your stream picked?
I do have my stream. Shall I
go?
The
stream.
Yeah. Shall I go first?
Yeah, man. Is it a scary crossing the streams?
It is a scary.
Good.
It has to be a scary.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So on, I believe it is Netflix. 2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it is Netflix. The 1981 original Evil Dead.
Oh, nice. Good call.
Sam Raimi, kicking it old school. Scared with I suck at the moment. What's that actor's name?
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. I'm not a fan of Bruce Campbell anymore. Back then I was,
really?
but yeah, now I'm not. He's a bit of a douche.
Oh, I like him.
I know. I would like to like him. But yeah, Evil Dead all the way. This thing, only because it's not a slasher. That's why I liked Hellraiser. I like horror movies that aren't the norm. Anything that peers off from the norm. Of course, Evil Dead, is a cabin in the woods, which is hilarious, and all of that stuff. And this is where the movie Cabin in the Woods took off. No, don't read the Latin, because it is an evil book, and he reads it, and they come apart. But yes, watch it, devour it. It's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And even though, I think I prefer Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
I think.
You have to know the roots. You have to. Well,
they're almost the same film. But,
absolutely.
They're both really great in different ways.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of fun. God, just so much fun.
Yeah.
And
Bruce Campbell doing his thing, like he's so good.
Yeah,
and Sam Raimi knows horror. He knows how to move the camera to kind of make you
He's got such a distinctive style, and it works so well in that context. And it's a style that has been aped many times over since then. But never as effectively as what he does naturally. It just comes so natural to him that all those really, those bizarre kind of Dutch angles and push-ins and all that kind of
stuff.
Just
the bizarre killings in it, like the fact that the tree rape scene is a bit full on.
Well, I mean, the fact that there is a tree rape scene
exactly
at all, but I mean, it's become as iconic as
the cabin in the woods,
as the trope of the cabin in the woods, for sure.
But I remember Evil Dead 2. I remember that cover. That cover sticks out in my mind. Looking in the video store, the skull with the human eyes. Yeah, so good. So absolutely. Evil Dead. If you're up for it, watch the remake. It's actually not that bad. It's a bit more serious. It's not as
there's no fun to be had at all.
It's actually very, 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 very serious, which kind of makes it bleak and kind of a bit depressing.
I didn't like it very much. I can see some benefits.
Sure.
Benefits is not the right word. No. I can see some merit in it, definitely, because there's some gnarly shit happening. Yeah. But I missed that kind of energy, the sense of humor in it, that kind of, that wickedly kind of playfulness.
Yeah. Evil Dead.
Very good.
Netflix.
All right. I'll do a Stan then.
Stanley.
Cool. Stan recommendation. I hope I haven't done this one before. But I am going to hit up a series that we've been discussing a little bit today.
Cool.
But I'm going to go for probably one of the most undisliked entries.
Oh.
I'm going to recommend Scream 4 on Stan.
Disliked? No, I would say 3.
3 is definitely the most, hated.
Yeah.
Because I agree. I think 3 is pretty awful. But I know 4 was kind of met with generally just kind of shrugs.
Yeah. I didn't mind 4.
I really liked 4. I thought it was really great. I think it did a lot of things really well that the first Scream also did in the way it reflected on the current state of not just horror, but films in general, pop culture. It was able to take all that, exploit it in a way that, that the first Scream movie did so effectively and turned it into scares. And I think the fourth one does it really well too, with the whole idea of how do we work now with Twitter, how do we work now with like GoPros, how do we work in this world where there is so much social media, there's so much vision of things. How would something like Ghostface work in that environment? Also the striving for popularity and that kind of idea that, you know, what the lengths people will go to in order to be a YouTube sensation and things like that. I think it kind of says some pretty gnarly stuff about that. Disappointingly, though, I find that the kills are probably the least effective part of this film, which is something that you can't say about any of the other Scream movies. The kills have always been the best parts, aside from the opening scene, which is just fucking great in Scream 4. It just goes on and on and on. It goes past the point of being, no, this is too much, to them being, no, this is amazing again. Aside from that, the kills are a little bit boring, but I think the performances are all good. I fucking love seeing Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox and David Arquette all running around doing their thing again.
Courtney Cox looks a bit weird these days. She's had a little bit too much work, but that's fine. That's fine.
It's up to the person themselves. If they're happy with how they look, then good on them. But I especially like the young cast. I think they cast that really well. Emma Roberts, Hayden Panettiere, and Rory Culkin, and really solid young performances. And Alison Brie is in it as well for a bit, and she's really funny.
I love Alison Brie.
And you know, one of the last films of the great man, Wes.
That's so true.
Wes Craven. So
Wes Craven.
We didn't get many after this one, I don't think.
I think we got one more, but this was the biggest. This was the next. This was the last big one, I think.
Yeah. And, you know, one of those strange kind of movies that we seem to be getting a lot of.
No, that was the last.
It was his...
That was the last film we did.
Well, there you go. And look, I think it's a nice way to go out. Like, it is definitely a better movie than I think its reputation holds. And yeah, this is what I was going to say a second ago. It's one of those films that we're getting an influx now of, we had the original, and then 15, 20 years later, we get a follow-up. That has had mixed results, I think, to a lot of them. We talked about one not long ago. Terminator 3 is kind of an example of that, where we had the two fantastic originals, and then we waited 12 years and we got another one that was maybe a disappointment. This is kind of similar. I think we went maybe 8 or 9 years in between 3 and 4.
So 3 was 2000. Oh no, 10.
10 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
And but I think it was really kind of effective and holds up really well.
I remember a lot of people were excited for it.
I was so pumped for it, and I just remember it. Yeah, it was kind of met with just it was alright, and I think it deserves a second look. So yeah, check that out on Stan. Well, Nicholas.
Well, Tys,
we got to tell the people what we're doing next week, because we're very excited for next week.
That's true.
We're bringing back a segment that we have only done once so far. And so in our 38 episodes, this segment we've only run once.
I did like last week that you kind of knocked off 2 in 1 here. It was a guest and on the list. I did like that.
So we are returning to the Everything Old is New Again segment, which is where we take an original film and its remake, and we look at both in the same show and kind of talk about how things have changed.
And there has been a lot with horror. There's been a lot of them.
And we've always, I think more often than not, we'll be talking about horror movies when we do this
that's
segment.
True, because the first one was as well.
Yes, but we're taking a look at one of my favourite directors and a film that I've not seen of his, and the remake. That is 1979?
Sorry.
Or 1980s?
1980s.
Oh, another 1980.
1980, and then 2005.
And that is The Fog.
The Fog.
First one directed by John Carpenter.
Oh, nice.
I haven't seen
either of these.
No, me either.
This is going to be awesome.
Who did the remake? Nobody. I betcha.
Someone of no. He did. I bet he did like music videos beforehand. Rupert Wainwright. No, that's not what. Not the singer. Not the singer. Clearly, no, he's not the singer.
It can't be.
But yeah, Rupert Wainwright.
Oh, Stigmata.
Blank check. See, I told you. Look.
Music video.
MC Hammer. Look.
MC Hammer. Too legit
to quit, baby. That is.
So look, this is going to be fun. I don't even know if we're going to be able to track down that remake, because it's going
to be hard.
No one gives a fuck about that movie, so that's going to be really hard to find.
It shouldn't be. It's a Carpenter.
No, the original is fine.
The remake.
The original. I think the remake. The remake's one of those movies that came out and just everyone was like, no, no
who
thanks.
Who the fuck is watching this shit?
Starring fucking Superman from Smallville.
Really?
What's his name?
Oh God, really? Tom Welling.
Tom Welling and Maggie Grace. They were everybody's favourite actors for about 3 minutes in the mid-2000s.
Suck it.
So that's going to be really interesting.
Maggie Grace of Taken.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, look, it's pretty clear what, which is going to be the winner of this
That's
circumstance.
true, but that's okay.
Because we've got one of the classic horror icons, directors, and
who knows? This might be really good. We might
remake.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay.
Okay.
We shall see. But yes, while we're getting excited with all this Halloween stuff, Nick, why don't we tell some people where they can find us?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us. Download, listen, subscribe, rate, review, share, repeat, do all that stuff.
All of it.
Wherever you find podcasts. But the main one, and Tys said last week, if you got the update, I think it's iOS 11 on your iPhone, you are now able to write a review on your phone.
Yes, so you can rate and review directly from the podcast's app. So while you're just chilling out listening, why not just click those 5 stars and just chuck a nice little comment
It'll
down
take
the bottom.
2 seconds. So all you have to do is just, which it is a bit weird to sort out, just click on Nick Tys.
It takes a little bit of maneuvering.
You're maneuvering.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest...
Scroll down, you'll see it.
Application.
That's
it's got
all right.
some problems, but that is one benefit of it that I was not aware of until a couple of days ago, and I was like, well, that's cool.
That's going to help.
So
please write a review for us. It's going to help us.
Yeah, and keep telling us what people have been watching on Facebook and
absolutely.
or on Twitter, or even comment on the YouTube videos if you like.
Yeah, please do.
We'd love
troll
to hear
the shit out of Tys.
Please do. I'd love to hear what everyone's watching for this.
Don't hurt my friends'
horror.
feelings. No, I'm kidding.
Please do. I love being told that it's I'm such a horror newbie, so I love when people give me shit for it because I'm like, yeah,
cool,
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just love hearing what people are watching. I love to hear what they're planning on watching. If they've got any big plans for Halloween, what's the movie they're going to watch on Halloween this year?
I always like to make that a good one, especially because my street does Halloween.
That's
so
amazing.
the street behind me and the street in front of me. So we get a little thing in the mail. Say put a balloon. You get a free balloon.
Yeah.
You put it on your letterbox so kids know where to go. Cute. So you're not going into strangers' houses.
Yes, wonderful.
Yep. And the amount of kids have flooded my streets that I've had to run and go get more lollies because I've run out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's look, I actually really love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll be excited. We'll be keeping the conversation going all month.
All month, people.
All month. And we might even be dropping a super secret special bonus episode towards the end of the month. So keep your eye on the Twitters and the Facebooks for information about that. But until next week.
Have fun, Tysy.
Yeah, you too, man.
Okay. I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.